Hi guys, Crafty Crystal here. Today we're going to I'm going to show you how to make one of these Plarn bags. This is a grocery bag, good heavy duty shopping bag. Odd color combination for me, but my sister brought these bags when she came to visit from Watauga, Texas. The gray is from their Walmart and the yellow is from a store called Dollar General. And I thought the yellow and the gray would look good together, and that's what I made the bags out of. She brought me enough to make 3 bags. Okay, now, bag-wise, you're going to need, uh, allow approximately 50 bags to make one of these, and that includes the handles. If you cut the bags between 3/4 and 7/8 of an inch, um, when you're making the rings, you will get about 15 on the average, 15 loops on the average. And this is based on 15 loops. So if you're cutting them 1 inch, you're only going to get 12 per bag. So you're going to have to allow a lot more bags. So, supplies. You need your Plarn. You need your scissors. I used an I hook. I've also used a J hook on these. Regular yarn needle, the dull point, and some way to hold your handles on when you go to sew them on. You can either skewer them on with a thin crochet hook, or you can pin them on with a large T-pin or a safety pin. Okay, so let us get started. Okay, this is the quick method of making your balls. You have your loops. You just undo your loops one at a time and put them over your arm until you have a bunch draped on. Now, you're supposed to put this between your knees. My knees aren't working so good. I have lymphedema and it's hard to get my knees to meet because my thighs are thicker. So right now I've got it under my coffee cup. But I have this little thing that I made that I set between me and between my hip and the chair. And it's kind of rubbery. It holds on good. And what I do is I put that between my hip and the chair, and I hold the knots that way. So I would hold a knot like that, and then I would be able to use the loop. But right now, in order to keep this in the camera, I'll hold it under my coffee cup. All right. Now you just pull one off, put it through there, and grab it with your thumb and forefinger. Now you see where my thumb is here? I'm going ahead and pull this. As I do that, the loop falls off my arm. Now my thumb is caught between the 2 loops. I'm going to gently hold this here, and I'm going to tug here. And I have a loop added. Okay, so you're holding it here, you're pulling the loop off, you're grabbing it in between, pulling it through, and you can use your finger if you like, but I really like the thumb better. Pull it down, stick it between your legs, under your coffee cup, under your rump, on the side of the chair, wherever. It goes quickly. It goes quicker when you don't have to keep moving your coffee cup. Now what happens if this happens? Oh, we do a little right over left and left over right, square knot. Okay. We hold these ends and we pull the shafts. That gives you a nice small little bow. Thank you, little bow. It'll disappear in your crocheting, or you can trim it, or you can fold it in, or you can cut it off now. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting this on my hip because I have to finish the rest of these in order to start the bag. Okay. I'm trying to get it to come up high enough. There we go. All right. Anyway, that's the general idea. Oh, look what I did. Made one by accident. Fine. We'll just put this through here. Put the other end through here. Oops. Find the knot. We want to hold that knot. See, now I can't hold it just anywhere on the loop because it would make the loop crooked. So I'm holding the other knot when I pull this. And now it's straight to there. And now I have my clear loop over here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off while I finish this. And then we're going to come back and start some crocheting, okay? Okay, what size are we going to make? Your average grocery bag is about 12 inches across the base. Oops. Which is almost 30 centimeters. And it's 18 inches when you open up the little wings, the sides fully, and it's 13 inches tall. Okay, so that's what an average grocery bag is. I like to make mine 14 inches wide and 14 to 15 wide and 14 to 15 tall. You might like yours smaller. You might not want yours for grocery bags. If they're for grocery bags, don't make them much smaller than 14 inches wide. Really doesn't work well for it. Okay, now, all you have to remember when you go to make your slip knot is that you come from the last knot on your roll and bring it out because you don't want a big loop-de-loop back here. You want to have a correct spot to start with and make your slip knot whatever way you make it. I'm making mine badly. Okay. Well, there's two strands, so I can fudge a little bit and say it's because of the two strands, right? There we go. Okay. Now, the secret to this is making a loose chain. If you make a tight chain or do any tight crocheting with these, you're going to regret it. Now, the second thing you have to understand about working with this is how you hold it. You may be used to doing all this wrapping around this finger and wrapping around this finger or around these two fingers. It does not work with Plarn. With Plarn, you want it over the finger you're going to control it with, and the rest of it wants to be loosely caged by your last fingers. Okay? So you're just going to put it over your finger and you're going to loosely cage the rest of it so it can flow freely. That's all you do. Any more than that and it's going to keep sticking on you. So I'm going to chain until I get roughly 15 inches for my bottom chain. Now I'm using an eye hook and these are very loose. I'm doing pretty loose here. See this? It's got to be nice and loose. If they aren't loose, you're going to have trouble working with them. Okay, I have 15 inches. And we're going to start the back. And in order to start back down, we're going to single crochet on both sides of this chain. But it's going to be the back side with the hump and the front side with the doubles. And we're going to start with the hump. If you start with the double side, you're going to end up with big holes in the middle, and I have no idea why, but that's how it seems to work. So we're going to go back down with the humps. And we're going to start out with 3 single crochets in this hump. 2, why is the camera doing that? 3. But trust me, this is the hardest part of the whole thing. Going down the back of this chain. This is the hardest part of making the whole bag. So as you go down and start crocheting and you say, oh heck no, no bag's worth this. It's just the one little part. The rest will be a piece of the cake, I promise. Now if you made your chains tight, you cannot do this part. You cannot begin it. You will have to go back and undo it and do your chain again. So if you need to do that, do it now. And then come back and join me. If you get tight, use a thumbnail, hold this, and flick it down to get your line to come out. Don't just pull it, or you will make your yarn stretch too thin. Thin is weak. Just like that. You need to stretch it, pull it down like that, okay? Like that. I'm sorry my camera's being funky. I am sorry my camera's being funky. I don't know why. Anyway, go all the way down doing just the back humps to the other end, and I will show you how to turn the corner, okay? Outside of learning that starting the bag is a real pain, what have you learned about the Plarn? You learned how to control 2 strands. You've learned that you don't put any tension at all on it. All you do is just cage it. You've learned that if it sticks, you do not pull the yarn up on your hook. You pull the yarn down on the piece. These are little things to learn, but they're important. And like I said, trust me, this working on this back hump was the hardest part of the entire thing. Now here's my last stitch. We're going to put 3 stitches on the hump side. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now I'm going to come over here on the other side of the knot. And we're going to do 3 on this side of the knot. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, look what I did. Don't know what I did. I think I started with one. I think I started with one yarn and ended up with another. Okay. Nope. Back here I went to 1 instead of 2. See there? Okay. I'll back off. I can always tell you get to your knot and you got a big loop there. You did something wrong. So I'm back coming over on this side of the knot. Don't yarn over, Chris. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3. And 3. Yes. Alrighty then. Now, going back is easy. That's all we got to do is go through the side of every stitch, all the way back to the other end. What I was doing here, I was starting to go through here to find the V. Look for this little dimple. See this little dimple? There's a dimple right there. You can see them right down there, right along the line. So, you go through the double side of this all the way down to the end, and I'll meet you at the end, okay? We are at the end of our first row, and if you look over here, this shaft opposite this has this loop around it. This loop belongs to that shaft, okay? We don't count that loop. We go 1, 2, 3, and this is our first chain. We're going to go in back here. Let's see, this is the double side. We're going to go back in here and we're going to do 3 single crochets on the other side of this first 3 that we did on the hump. Okay. Now, we're going to slip stitch into this one, our first one. And we want to keep track of this first one. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to go back into that first one. Okay? And we're going to put a marker on it. A marker, a safety pin, a paper clip, piece of yarn, piece of string. Mark it with something. You need to mark it with something. Okay? Now, we're going to put 1 stitch in every stitch around. No increasing, no decreasing. 1 stitch in every stitch around. Very, very simple. Just like that. And we're going to do this all the way around the other end, not increasing, not decreasing. 1 single crochet in every single crochet around. Okay, and I'll meet you back here. Here is the last, the first one we started with. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to go in there and do a slip stitch. And a chain 1. And we're going to go back and put our keeper in. Alrighty. Now, did you check the length of your part? Were you surprised to find out it shrunk a little bit? Were you surprised to find out how easy it was to get it longer? Now, see the middle here? See how nice that middle is? For some reason, if we did it the opposite way, if we went through the 2 loops and then went back to the single loop, we'd have holes like, let's see if I can find one, like this, all down the center. Instead of nice little holes, nice little controlled holes. Okay, so that's 2 lines. Do 2 more. Go around just like we did. Come back to this one. Do your last stitch in that one with a slip stitch. And then go up, go around again, go up, go around again. You got 4 rows, okay? So meet me back here at 4 rows. And we're still going even. No increase whatsoever. Even all the way around. You've already started to make your little cupped in here, okay? Alright, see you back then. Alright, I'm at the end of my 4th row. Going from my center out, I got 1, 2, need 3 on this side. One, 1, 2, 3 on this side. That's kind of a wide gap. And I need to close this up a little bit more anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bite into this next one, bring up another loop, and I'm going to do a decrease over these 2 stitches. Now give me my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for my end. Okay, and then I'll slip stitch into this. That's the end of our 4 rows of single, and now we're going to start the pattern stitch. So we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, double wrap. We're going to slip this stitch that we skip the stitch that we just went in. We got to skip the next empty stitch and go into the 3rd stitch. Go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops. Okay, now that's our first A. Now we're going to make a V. And chain 1, wrap twice. We're going to go back into the same space that our last leg just came out of. So they're sharing a space. Through 2, and you leave the last loop on the hook. Wrap twice, skip 1 stitch, go to the next stitch. Come up, 2 loops unhook, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops. Now you have 3 loops unhook. Now go through all 3 loops. Okay. Now, we've got our A. Let me turn it right side out here. We've got our A, we've got our V, another A, and we're going to make another V. Chain 1, wrap, wrap, go back into the point of the V. Through 2 loops, through 2 loops, leave those on there. Wrap, wrap, skip 1, go to the next one, bring up a loop, through 2 loops, through 2 loops, through all 3 loops, chain 1. This is our established pattern. Okay, wrap, wrap, back into the point of the V, 2, and wrap, wrap, skip 1, go to the next, and through all 3, and chain 1. Okay, do that around till you come back to here. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what to do if you need to fudge along here, in case you come up with the wrong number of stitches. It's not really going to show up. Don't worry about it. Okay, go all the way around and come back over here, and I'll meet you here. Now when you get back to the beginning, you want to go right in the stitch that this one came out of. You went in here and you slip stitch through this, and this is your little ring for that. You want to go back in that one. If you can't go back in that one, if you're too close, like you ended here, then go down in this one. It doesn't matter. Either or. But you want to go in either this one or this one, whichever one will give you the most. If you had to use this one, you use that one. If you're using this one, you use that one. Okay? In other words, make it pretty much as close to the right spacing as you can. This is the only time you have this trouble. After this, you're all working in the tops of your V's. Now, I chain 1, I come back and I do a slip stitch in the top of my first stitch. Okay? That's the first round. Now, we can either go forward and slip stitch, or we can go backwards and slip stitch. Now, if you keep going forward, your edge is going to keep warping around the bag until you're clearly in front. So go back and do a slip stitch. And you kind of want to tighten it a little bit if you can. If it's too big and funky looking, it'll upset you later. And you chain 1, 2, 3, wrap twice, go in the top of your next V. And this is what every row is going to be like from now on. You're just using the top of the V's. And for this first stitch, you're only coming through 2 stitches because you don't have the cross stitch here that would be your third loop on your hook. Chain 1, wrap twice, and away you go. Now, the trouble that you had or didn't have with the single crochet row, you won't have anymore. Mark the top of your first stitch here. When you come back, this is the top of a V. Or if you went in here, it's the top of a V. Okay? So when you come back, you'll be doing the top from here to here and from here to here. No problem. Then you chain 1 and you slip stitch into your marker on the top of this. Then you either go forward to slip stitch or backward to slip stitch, chain 3 and start all over again. Okay? So let's do that again on how you get started. I'm only working on a partial basket here, a partial purse, bag, whatever, because I was so sure that I was all in where I was supposed to be, seeable, that I went ahead and kept crocheting. Then I checked the video and guess what? I was clear out of here most of the time. Okay, so you come back around. This is every time you slip stitch into your top. Now last time I showed you how to slip stitch backwards. You can also slip stitch forwards. Now if you slip stitch forward, you're going to be coming in back here to start. Chain 1, 2, 3, wrap, wrap, go into the top of the next V. And you can see this is going to make this gap a little bit bigger. But if you do that every other time, it'll help keep your bag from going in one direction or the other. And the very first time you come together on the top, you're only going through 2 loops because you don't have the other loop on your hook. That's your chain 1. You chain 1, wrap, wrap, come back in, back in, go into the top of your next V, through 2 loops, through 2 loops, and now instead of the 2 loops you have 3 because you have the chain 1. You pull it through all 3. Go back and put your marker in the top of your stitch. And when you come back, you'll be going from this V into this V. Chain once, go in the top of your stitch. Go around and around. Okay? I will be back with the other bag because I'm just about ready on it. Here we go. I've done 2 full rounds. I'm finishing my second round. I'm keeping the bag in the video, in the camera. Okay, so use this for the other bag. I'll put it back on here. Okay, so I have the top of my first stitch in my second row. Okay. Now wrap, I come in back in the same V I was in before, that I started in. Whether you went forward or back, it's the same V. Through all 3 stitches, chain 1, and now I go forward and I go into the first stitch. Got my marker. And a slip stitch. That finishes our second round. Now, last time I went back. This time I'm going to go forward. I'm going to chain this a little looser. And that gives me a little bit more room here on the edge when I come back on this side. 1, 2, 3. Wrap, go into the top of the next V. Because you already used the top of this one. And you come through both because you don't have the loop on your hook from your chain 1. So you chain 1, wrap, go into the top of the next V. Whoops. Wrap, top of the next V. And this is all you have to do. You're working in the tops of your V's. So you have no problem as far as losing stitches, losing your way. All you got to do is come back and stick your little marker in your first stitch. You'll get doing something to go around and say, wait a minute, I already went past it. Because it'll lay flat like this and you'll start going along like that and you'll say, where am I? And you'll be halfway down the other side. So far. Now I'm going to do this is about an inch, and each of these is about an inch, and I want 14 to 15 inches on my bag, which means 14 rows of pattern. So I'm going to go 4 rows of the gray. I'm going to put in a row of the alternate color. In this case, it's a yellow because that's the color bags my sister brought me. Okay. And then I'm going to do 4 rows in another color of this, and that'll make 10. And then I'll do another 4 rows, and that'll give me 14 inches of pattern, and an inch of this will make it 15 inches tall. Okay, so I'm going to come back. I'm going to do 2 more rows of this, and then I'm going to change color. And I will see you then. Before I went any farther, I thought I'd show you where I'm at the end of my first ball. This is 10 bags. I made 10 bags into each ball, plus 14 on the last ball. So it made the 4 rows of single, and that used almost half the ball. The other half you made 2 rows plus, 6 stitches, something like that. And also, since I'm coming to the end here, I thought I would show you how to add a new ball. So you got your end here. Stick your loop through. Pull your ball through. find your last knot. I'm going to hold your last knot. Also helps if you put your needle through there. Okay, your hook. So it doesn't get pulled out. Okay, and you just pull it. Pull it. There we go. New ball added. Ready to continue. Okay. Alright. See you when I'm ready to change color. I've got my 4 rows of gray. I'm going to use my alternate color and come back to the edge. One nice thing about changing colors, you lose the edge, you can come back to it. I kind of walked forward too much, so I ended up without it. Now I'm only going to chain 2 because I've decided what I'm going to do here is on the yellow, I'm going to do a row of double crochets. So I'm just going to do 2 doubles in each of these little V's. Now, I'm going to row up through this, and I'm going to put my hook through that, and come on down, pick up a loop, bring the loop through there, loop through there, and here's my gray and back. It's halfway up the back. I'll be able to bring it up, and it won't make too big of a mess back there. I couldn't get away with doing it this way if I was like doing black and white. The black would really show up, or the white would really show up. So this works out good. So I'm going to put 2 in each of the V holes across, all the way around. And then I'm going to switch back to the gray and do 4 more layers of gray. Now I don't always do it this way. I do it different every time. First time I made a bag like this, I made it all in the same color. Then I made another one that was mixed variegated with brown and the white the white bags like that have gray or blue or whatever on them for Vaughn's and Smart and Final and stores like that. The next one I did, I used these all across, just like down here. The next one I did, I used alternate with the color I had on the base and an alternate color all the way across. So it'd be, if I did that here, it'd be like gray, yellow, gray, yellow, gray, yellow all the way across. And that's very nice looking, especially if you're using black for your alternate color. It makes a nice contrast to the white and red colors. So I'm going to go on and do that around, and then I have to come back and change it back to the gray. Okay, I think that's going to look nice. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be a nice little contrast in there, won't it? Okay. See, my sister brought me a lot of the gray bags, but not a lot of the yellow. So I'm using the yellow for accent. Alright, see you back here. Where my gray is. I'm going to come back here. My gray's in back of this one. I'm going to come back. Just bring it up. And go 1, 2, 3. Double wrap. I'm going to go in between these guys, because if I go in them, it's going to make them look like V's. And I don't want them to look like V's this time. I want them to look like double crochets. Wrap, wrap. I got used to single wrapping. Now I got to get used to double wrapping again. Okay. And there we go. We're back on track. Chain one. Double wrap. What did I do? No, I did it right. No, I didn't. Okay. Wrap and come up here. Double wrap. Come through here. And go through both of them. And that's because I don't have my chain one. And then I go on from there. Just like anybody, I still make mistakes and I have to go back and undo them. Depending on what kind of day it is, I might do more frogging than crocheting. Never can tell. Okay. I'm going between these guys, and I did it again. Oh. Alright, I'm going to start back. Now, here's where my gray is, but I would like to come up here in here on the edge. So, I think I'm going to pull a sneaky here. Where there's a will, there's a way. You just kind of worry at it a little bit. Okay, now. No, I want this to... Okay, if I do it this way, it'll come through there, so... I'll come down here, bring a loop up, and slip stitch it there. And chain two. Yes, I chained two. The other one seemed to make too big of a hole. I'm going to come down between these two guys here. And I got my first leg of gray. Chain one, double wrap, come into the next space between. There. By coming in between, I make these look like little sets of doubles. If I went in between these, they'd look like little sets of V's. So that's why I'm doing it this way. I want them to look like little dashes of doubles. And I'm going to be making doubles for a while. Now that I've got a row of doubles, I got to concentrate on making triples. Whew. Double wrap. And chain one. And double wrap. There we go. One thing about this, it's hard to go fast because your hook wants to slide and grab on to the plarn, or rather I should say the plarn wants to grab on to the hook. Anyway, there I am. I'm going to go ahead and do 4 more rows of this gray. And you aren't going to have to watch me do doubles and tear them out and put triples in. So I'm going to do it off camera. Aren't you glad? Okay, so I will be back. And I'll do another row of yellow. Well, I'll start another row of yellow. There we go. Okay, I think it's going to look nice. Just needs that little accent on it is all. Okay, I will be back. Okay, I'm ready to start my gray again. My gray ends here, and I want it to start here. So I'm going to bring it across the back, sneak it through here. Let's see, what's the best way to do this? Tighten this down. There. Because I don't want a big bulky thing on the back. I'm going to bring this through here and chain 1, 2. Wrap, wrap. Come down in between these 2 sets. And we only have 2 loops on the hook because we don't have the one for the single crochet, the single chain over here. So we're going to, whoops, we're going to chain 1, wrap, wrap, come back in, and I'm going in between the sets of 2 doubles. If I went in the middle of each set, it would make them look like little V's. And I really don't want them to look like little V's. I've got plenty of V's on here. I want them to look like little accents of 2 yellow double crochets. Just like this. There we go. Going right back to my pattern. And you can see it just gives it a nice little bit of bright accent. I like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 4 more rows of this, a row of that, 4 more rows of this, and then I'll be on the top edge. And I'll meet you there, okay? All right. All right, I've got the bag done up to the top. I did 4 rows in my yellow, 4 rows in my yellow, and 4 rows, and I've started a row of single crochet. Put a single crochet. I'm going one single crochet in the top of the V and one single crochet into the stitch on top of the A. So one in the V and one in the A. Now you can do this the way we did the yellow row, and you can put 2 single crochets in each one and just leave the top of the A alone. But I prefer to do it this way, so this is how I'm doing it. I'm going to do 1 row around, and then I'm going to do a second row. So I'll have 2 rows of single crochet on the top. And then I'll be back and we'll start the handles. Okay? See you then. Okay, to start the handles, it's very simple. We're going to do 5 actually, chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 is the turning chain. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. We're going to go in back of this 4th stitch and make a single crochet. Then we're going to go back to the next one. And the 3rd one. Whoops, keep it up here, Chris. Come on. There we go. And the last one, because it's the beginning and because it tends to be looser, I go through the back hump and one of the legs. Usually the back leg. And that's only on when I'm going straight. And only on the first one. Because otherwise you end up with a big loopy part here that you don't want. Okay? You chain 1 and turn away from you to the other side. Now you want to turn the same way every time. If you want to turn this way every time, this is going to be on the outside and it can cause problems. If you turn away from you every time, that keeps your end on the inside of your thing and keeps your edge neater. And you're going to be going down the whole edge with a single crochet, so you want to keep it neater. Then just single crochet back. 2, 3, 4. Chain 1 and turn it away from you. Okay, we're going to do this back and forth until we have a nice long piece. I made mine 19 inches. 19 to 21 inches is the average for these. Let's see, where's that little measuring tape? Here it is. You want to measure down from about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about the 6th one in, and the 3rd pattern row down. So there's my 0. And you want a reasonably nice handle. If I come back down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in, I have a pretty good size handle at about 19 inches. See? And that's what I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, and there's my handle. Okay, whether you look at it that way or you look at it this way. And that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be coming in approximately, leave about approximately 5 of these pattern stitches on the side of the outside of the handle, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. And you're coming down to the third layer, and they'll be even on both sides of the bag and both sides of each bag, both sides of each side. Okay, now once we have this part done, I want to put, you don't have to, I want to try it with the yellow on the outside. See if the yellow will look good on the outside. I think it might. If it's too, I'll go back and take the yellow out and put the gray on. Let's see. Where's my yellow? Okay. Here's my yellow. Let's start in the middle. Go to places any. Okay. I'm going to go back in that same stitch. Do my single. That's 2 stitches there. And I'm going to do 2 more on the same stitch. Okay? So instead, I'll just go in each stitch and see what happens. I'll go around each corner edge stitch. Now, as far as the number of rows I ended up with 54 rows. And I stopped at 19 inches. Yeah, I think that's going to work okay. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and put the yellow all the way down, all the way across the bottom, all the way up the other side, and do the last 2 stitches in the end. You will have 3 on each corner. Remember that. We want 3 on each corner. Just like you did here. Makes the corners a little more distinct. Okay. Go ahead and do that. Let me get down to this end. This isn't your last, this hole here on the other end belongs to this row. So you have to come up here into this hole. This is the hole that goes with this row. So you come up and find your last hole. That's the one you do 3 on. And the third one counts as 1, 2, 3, 4. Do 2 more so you have 3 on this side. And then your next stitch will be in the second line down. And 1 stitch in each stitch down the side. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish this one. And do my yellow lines on this one. See how it looks. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, we're back to put the handles on, but I want to talk to you about something first. And that's these little flags. Occasionally when you're making your rings, it'll break or it'll have had a cut in the bag, and you have to tie them together, and you end up with these little wings. And the easiest way to take care of the wings is, because it's plastic, it's going to cling to itself anyway. So you want to go through 2 or 3 stitches with your needle. Bring it up here to your flag. Stick your flag in it. And pull it through. Stretch it back again before you clip it if you need to. That really doesn't need clipping. And do the same thing on the other side. You could also put them both in together, but they're very short. So stick them through. Nice thing about the nice thing about the Plarn, you don't have to worry about any fuzz on the end keeping you from getting it in. You know, that just went down, hid in the hole. Okay, that's how you take care of the little flags, and you'll have them here and there in your bag as you make it. But that's what you do with it, and that's also how you hide your ends. Now, one thing that I didn't think of until now that helps me when I make one of these. Let's see what I can find here. Put a little piece of cardboard or something in the back. It makes sure I don't accidentally catch the other side. Now, there's several ways that you can prepare this. First of all, you want to look on your ends, see if there's anything different on them that makes one side more desirable than the other. This is the front side. You can tell because the stitches face you. And this is the back side because the stitches are away. So I want to put both handles the same way, so I'm going to put both of them so that the front faces me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lay this down next to the 6. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Now, there's several ways to secure these while you work with them. This is what I use. It's the easiest. I use an E or an F hook. And I just go like that. It's really simple, quick, fast. But you might not like it. You might think they get in your way. If they do, you can take a couple T-pins like this. Or you can use these are the craft safety pins that don't have the loops in the bottom. And stick that in there like that. Whatever you need to fasten this so that it stays put while you're working with it. Okay, I don't like dealing with those guys, so I'm going to go ahead and stick a small hook in here. All right. Now, you take a piece of your Plarn rings, take one loop, stick it in your needle, okay. Now open your loop up, like that. Put your needle through it, and very gently pull the bottom, and there you have a threaded needle. Is that not cool? You don't have to worry about it coming out or catching on anything. It's just like a regular needle and thread. Okay? Now, I'm going to come in from behind, so I'm just going to go in this hole down here. And when I come up in the middle of this 6th stitch, and I'm using the gray, so I'm going to be going into the gray part of the bag handle. If I use the yellow, I would try to keep it in the yellow side. And I go back down in between here, somewhere, anywhere. Woohoo! There we go. Now remember, this isn't regular thread and it's not regular yarn, so treat it nice. Treat it nice. Okay, a little respect there. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, I'm going to come up every stitch, every other row. When you go down, you want to make sure that you are catching something substantial. You don't want to end up with one tiny little piece here or something. If you can come down in a hole where you're catching a whole shaft, that's good. Come back up. Okay. Go back down. Now, since I'm going up in the middle, I want to make sure I catch 2 or 3 of these strands when they come up. I'm going to go right down to the last stitch here. I'm going to back up if I can. Go down about where I came up at. There. Then I'm going to skip one. I'm going to go to the next one. Well, I've got a hole right here, so I think I'll just use this one. Come down on top of that junction like that. See, now it comes out nice and straight, and I can take this out because I no longer need it to hold on, and that's 1/2 of the bag, and I'm going to go across here in just a minute. Okay, now my mom came in, so I don't need to record and talk over her. Now, we don't go all the way to the edge to put the handle on. We want to leave a little edge here, so I'm using my 2 rows of single crochet as my edge. And here's where my last one came out. See that? I'm going to go around it to this one and come out. I'll go back in, and this time I'm going to go through the top of this stitch. See the top of the A here? I'm going through the top of that. I'll come out the other side of the A and go back into here. All right, now we're just ready to go back down again. So first I'm going to secure it one more time, I think, up here. So I'm going to go sneak in the side over here. Make sure I came out in a different spot. I did. I'll go down here. You just want to make sure you kept something substantial in back all the way down, okay? Come under that one. Here. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just making sure that I have like either a whole roll or a shaft under it. So this time I'm doing this one. And I'll come back up. And now I'm at one of these junctions here. So I'll go back down. No, I'm too low to get the junction. Okay. I'll just go through and I'll come back up from the top of the junction and go back in the same hole. Okay. Now I got the junction firmly hooked on behind. It's going to be different on every bag. It's going to be different on every part, on every half of every handle. It's a matter of what works for you. Okay. That. I'm going to come down. I'm going to come down under here because this is a contrast color. I'm going to sneak down under here and I'm going to go down in. Because I want it closer to the edge, but I don't want it over the yellow. Okay. Come back up here. And go down here. And back up here. I'm just wrapping it around the bottom posts here. And one more. Okay. Go through here. Straight down. There. Now I'm just going to do a knot anywhere along here. I want to get a few guys in here behind the knot. Now remember, this isn't string and it isn't yarn. So when you do this, you gently pull on this until the knot gets close. And then you can pull it tight. Gentle, gentle, because it's trying to hold on to everything, okay? All right. And now, just hide this along a little bit. And come back and hide it along a little bit. And chop her off. Voila. All right, now all you do is make sure that you back off again. Okay. Now all you do is make sure that you don't twist your handle. So you want to go up, bring your other handle down. Make sure it's either cupped this way or this way, but that it's cupped and not twisted. Okay? so that you can actually close it to a point. That means that you've got both handles on the same side. And I've got my cardboard back there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where's my skewer? Use this one. There. And I'm ready to do the other handle. Okay. And when it comes right down to sewing it, because you're sewing this part to this part, this little yellow will stick down. Now if you use the yellow will be right on this line. When it comes to actually sewing, I'll be sewing the gray onto this bar. So the yellow will be below it, but the gray will be right on the bar, which is how I measured it before I put the outside on. Okay, so that's what you do on that side. And when you turn it over and you go, make sure that your outside, your right side is showing if that's what you used on the other. Come down 3, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Set this there. Make sure that it lines up. It means you counted right on the other side too. Um, put your, see, I've got cardboard here, I can do that. Set your goodies on there. Come on, cut on the plastic. There we go. There. And then you make sure that the other side is correctly all the way. Go your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pin it down. And have your bag with your handles. Okay. And they're nice handles. They are real nice. They work well together. They feel good together. And this bag is so strong. You're going to really enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. And I'll be back with the finished bag. Okay, here we are with the finished bag. Nice bag, strong bag, and they last a very long time. The only thing that you have to remember is don't leave them in the car where they're going to be in the sun. Put them in the trunk, stick them in a crocheted bag, or a cloth bag. You know how they have some cloth bags that are shopping bags, anything like that, but do not leave these sitting in the sun because it will disintegrate eventually. Otherwise, I think I made the first one of these bags in 2012, so that's 6 years ago, and it's still going strong. I made the first batch for my mom, and she uses them to death, and then she throws them into the washing machine under a mild load, and then you just lay them out and let them dry. That's all there is to it. So you can machine wash them. All right. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you make a bunch of these. And happy hooking, everybody. Bye bye.